Okay, good morning. Did you wake up? And I hope you wake up very soon. So, welcome to my XrmToolBox tool we create today. And, well, let's just get started because I don't like PowerPoint. So here we go. Well, the sponsors, can you say them? I can't say them. Well, we love them. And we get another one as well, and we love them too. They're great. They pay everything for me. But who am I? Just very short. And I need, maybe we should do this. So 50, what is 50 for me? No one knows. I'm actually that old. I'm 50 years, that's crazy. And 25, what do you think then? Well, I've been a consultant and working like in this area as well. And 13 years, well, 13 years ago, I started in the Dynamics CRM, and then I've continued in that area. And 8 years since I released my first tool, which is an XML builder. That's maybe, I think that's all you need about me. You can probably find me on Twitter and on everywhere online, so don't need to take time about that. I'm also an MVP for a few years and working at XrmToolBox. No, I said red. CRMK. Well, anyway. So, what do we do here today? We will create, of course, a mini CRM. Why is that? Well, because we can do it. And if I can do it in the XrmToolBox, it's cool to create just a small CRM. And we try to focus on showing you how to use metadata, how to use the data, and how to make the good controls in this old technology we're working with, the WinForms. So, of course, we're doing that. And where did you come from? Well, in 2014, I created XML Builder. And then I started with the plugin trace viewer, and I don't know. Do we do PowerPoint? I have to. Should I talk about this or read? Okay. I hate PowerPoint. That's it. That's okay. I want to go to Visual Studio. That's where I like it. So, sorry, no more PowerPoint. And we should have this slide, the end slide that says, "Oh, we love all sponsors," but I don't. And there you see how to find me. So my name with a dot in the wrong place. Okay, so we start, of course, with Visual Studio. And we're going to create a tool. How do we do that? I'm sorry, I have to say this. It's white background in the Visual Studio. It's only because for you guys, so you can see better. But anyway, so here we have a project template for XrmToolBox. How do you get to that? Well, it's really hard. Listen and write it out. Well, you go to XrmToolBox, you go to the documents, and then you see all developers. That's we, all of us, right? All of us. Thank you. And we'll find the plugin, the template for the project. And there's a lot of text. Don't read it. Just click this and get it from there. We already had it. We have it already. So then we're going. Let's create a new tool. Let's create our little mini. You know, by the way, I've done a few sessions like this. To make it harder, I only work with my left hand. Ooh. Thank you. There we go. Mini CRM. And do you know from which country this has come, the XrmToolBox? He's kind of scary about French things. This is why. Well, after it's loading the project, it will say, "Oh, this is from French." So you have to say, "Yeah, I trust it." So okay, now we have it under C. There's actually, we get, like from the default, we get a tool, we get like a few demo tests. And we could just, oh, we want to run it, of course. Run it, see if it compiles. Yes, it compiles, okay, but we can't run it because it's a DLL, you can't run that. So how should you do instead? Let's go to the documentations. So when we go here and find developers, and there's something, debug our tool. And we get some information. There's how to, so it will move the created plugin to the right folder. And it does that already when we just use this template. And also, we should say to it, run the XrmToolBox.exe and send a few, like command line to make sure that use these local files. So I'll just do this, and then we go here, and we'll find these, and the debug, we set the XrmToolBox. Dev lab, mini CRM, dev, yeah, it can take some time, but I'm sorry. We're doing it live, so it will take some time, some things. There's XrmToolBox. Run that, and the command line, that text. Oh, let's try now. Ooh. Ah, okay, you haven't woken up yet. You will wake up, I promise. Okay, for once and only once, I will not get the update. I'm sorry about that, but it takes like 2 seconds extra. There's my tool. It has like a default name and so on. I just use that. It will connect to a organization. It's not there, and I will have to click new and find my password. No, I do not. You do never. No, you do never do that. We use our existing files we have. And how do you wake up? Do you have coffee? Okay, here's Jonas' stuff. And I use that, and oh, he will see everything. So I'll connect to Jonas space, and we'll see, we can run it, and ooh, we found 13 accounts. Okay, it works, great. Now, let's move on. This was just seeing that it works to use it, at least. Now, I'm sorry, we're going to take a bit of time, like 2 minutes, 1.5, with this whole plumbing it up so we have what we need to create the coolest tools. So we will say that we need to make it on Git, because we need another repo as a submodule. We have to create it on Git. Do just like this, and then we take something awesome to add to this as good helpers. And what is that? Oh, it's from me, I'm sorry. I'm not selling this, it's free. And I have probably a good link there as well. So it's Rapp and XTB helper, I like that. And then I'll just copy this on how to add these. Submodule should be possible to just click it in here, and let's get processing. We do like this in Sweden, you do like this or something. Do this. Huh, it's there. Okay, just F6. I don't use the clicks so much if I can use it just with the keys. So I clicked Control F6. And it compiles fine. We have now retrieved it, it works, and one little small thing, we should add this shared project that we have added to this tool that we created. So this is the last boring things, but then it's the only fun. And we'll find this, and see we have these 2 folders, 2 different shared projects that are this for XRM, have a general XRM helps, and then another one that is specifically shared project for the XrmToolBox. These are added, and we say that our tool is having these as a reference. If I can click in the right place. And F6 again, oh, it builds. So now we can start do the fun things. Let me just remove these. I don't need those buttons and so. Want to just, okay, what do we need to create a CRM? What's the first thing you do? Good morning. You select which table or entity that you want to see. And yeah, good. So I'll just add a panel to put panel to put them in the top here. And there's be a little bit of the UI things that we're doing, but it's another session that we're having today at 15 and never, no, don't. But I will have it another time. So just gonna set, let's see, doc. Yes. I have to go flip back and forth between the, if it's alphabetical and how it's ordered. We have it there in the top. And now, let's see if we have something for XRM. We have a bunch of tools there, or controls there. We see here it's something for attribute, a few different columns, and there's data grid and entity combo box. Is that the one we want? Thank you. So I will put this one here. That's very small. So this is just like a combo box. You just add a little, know what the entity metadata is. So other than that, all others are just like any combo box. So I'll just make sure we do this one. And also, sorry, I don't change the name. We should never have this name, but oh, I'm lazy today. Okay, so now we have the combo box for the entity or table. How do we get that? Well, we do it when the control or when this tool has getting a new connection, either when you start it or when you change the connection. So we can say this as an we have, it's not yes, connection update. That's an event on the tool itself. So this is implemented by Tanguy so that we get this for the new connection. So when something's happened, I should set the entities. So of course I go to get entities like this, and it's done. No, of course it's not. It should be, we should also create this one. And here we should get all entities. How do we do that? One line. Ooh. Thank you. So, well, let's see how we make that one line. We'll say XRM dot data source. Data source is a standard property of these, but now we can send it to a link of entity metadata. That's kind of awesome. And I know we can get this if I write load entities. There's some things I know because I've done it so many times, and there are some which I don't know because I get this. You see the red things under. Then control dot use some extensions from my tools there. So just do it like this, and then we see what properties does it have. Does it work? We'll see. And sometimes it's behind. Crossing. Whee! Okay, so here's a shitload of entities, but okay, it works. It's a good start. It's a good start. I think so. So you know if you do. The next thing we really need here, because from the old CRM and today Power Platform and Dataverse and so on, it takes time. That's the first thing we know, it takes time. So we need to do this async, how to call this. And so that you see that something is happening, doesn't just froze and everything there. So let's start doing that. And there's a worker sync that's in the XrmToolBox, sort of the parent of this. So if I call this and it wants now I'm just gonna, I have to sort of write and talk at the same time. This is really hard. So we should call this and we'll see here. What do we send into it? We have a message, of course. We need to say why are we waiting for this? Well, message is load, and I don't spell correct, but that's okay today, because this is a demo. And the work, so this is actually what is done in another thread. So we can send it you can do it like this in one line or almost, and say how. So we have send it to work and some what do you call it? I will have to see what it says then. Arguments is an args. Okay, and do it like this, and we get this method. So this is where we do what takes time, and we should have also a afterward, and when it's done, we should handle it like a post work and send only an argument. And that's it. And now, so from this, we should now move what we have done here, should move it to this instead of when you're getting all the metadata, do that when it's work, and afterward, when you're done, use it to the XRM entity, the control there. So I'll just get this, and set like this, and here we can say args.result equals this. So it does this, and when you're done, getting done from another thread, gets back to you after that, and you get the response there. And I will take this here. But we need to check. Is it an error here? There are always errors here. Well, maybe there could be. So we need to make sure that it is, we know if it's correct. So if r.error not null, then let's just show an error message. So show error message, something in the XrmToolBox that does it all for me. Actually, would I create it? Anyway. And if it's not a problem, not error, then do if else, and see if the result is of right type. So we need to make sure that you get the right result from this. So a.result not null, but let's just say if it is, what should it be here? It should be an and someone say this word. Thank you. And the metadata, and it's probably red as well. Oh shit! Since I have to use something else. There we go. So now I can get back, and then we could say, okay, this is the result, and I will use this to actually select set to this control. There we go. and remove that. So now we should get like a yellow banner that shows up there to show you what it's doing. And you have to look fast, actually. Oh, damn. That was very fast. Let's try once more. Are you looking?
Yeah.
Don't blink. Ah, okay. I'm glad that you see. Okay, now I think we're done with getting the tables. Because, I mean, it's doing good now, showing it with async and so on. No, we're not done, are we? Are we working with all thousands of tables, or should be able to filter it some way? We should be. So just add a checkbox here to say if it's a managed or not managed, just to do that to make it easier. Checkbox. Like this. We add this here. No. And we try again. Checkbox. There. And we should set it with a name. And say, if we click this, show managed. Okay, and I should change the name. I didn't. I'm bad. And add, so when we click this, well, of course, get entries. Get them again. And then let's add this, because this result here contains all tables. Now I'm going back and forth between saying table and entity. Live with it. So I go where, no, like this, entity, and say that either, I mean, if this is checked, check box. So if it's checked, don't care anymore. If it isn't, then let's check if this entity is unmanaged. So we take e dot manage something is managed equal false. So now that's a very easy way to actually filter these things. Just checking this. And now we have, okay, these are like 6. And if I click it, there's a gazillion. Okay. That's good enough for me. Now what? To get the views. Sort of, how do I show these? Well, we need to have a view first to get to what is the actual query to retrieve those the data. So let's just say when I have selected an entity or table, we just double click and use the default event there. So when I've selected something, do get views. And it's done. No, it's not done. We have to start this, and it's not working, doesn't do anything yet. So the first thing is, of course, to check which entity do we have. So the one that I've selected is, let's see, XrmToolBox dot selected. What do you have here? Oh, the selected entity. So that's one little thing that's added from these XRM controller. So now I know which entity has been selected. Of course, I have to check that it's a null or not. If it's, I just do like this. So if it's not null, then we can sort of get the views here. How do we get the views? I mean, the entity that we're showing, that's metadata. And now we're going from metadata to data. So it's kind of in the between, but technically it's data anyway. So to get these, of course, you don't sort of start to write your own, but you use the tool to get how to find the views. Oh, that's another cool. And wow, that's already, it's done. Okay, I've created a query. Just get views, name and fetch XML, and only where they have a fetch XML for if they're null. Some are null, which is strange, but don't show those. And also where the returned type code which is also, which entity do you want to get them for. And in this case, they select here, just as an example, one, which is account, but we'll sort of change it a bit in the code. I could just copy this and work that way, but I want to use it a bit better. So here I can actually get the C# code. And I won't take the first one, because that's getting was just for the account that I'm using here for as a demo for the query. We get this one, and we get in here. Just put this in here, and we see this is of course red because it's one. I removed that in here, and this is something that I cannot explain. I hope you can. You should. When in query we said one, a number, and here we can send it instead a logic name. So now it will be said account, and in the query we created, it was said it's a one. No idea why, but it works. Yep. Okay, so this is, the query is done for what we shall do, and then we should do something with in async, of course. Again, we always do that. And to save time, some time, I'll just copy this and remake a bit of that. And do it down here. So it's not loading ingenuity, it's loading views. And it should get it some, well, not like this, it should get it like retrieve. Well, retrieve multiple, that's normal for getting the data. And what do we add? Of course, we do the query. So now we can get all the views. And then we handle it, well, the error, handle it in the exact same way. And if the result, that's not the type, it is an entity collection. So if it works, you will get an entity collection. And then, well, we don't have any way to put it into what do we do with the view. So let's see here again for XRM. We have, in this case, I'll use a lookup, which means it's pointing for some entity. And we have these entities here. We have the views. They have only two columns in this case, but it works enough. So let's create a this and make it. And this is also a standard XrmToolBox, which is good. Yes, thank you. Jesus, you're sleeping today. And I should set the name properly, of course, and then we can say, I should say it has, I like when they go like gray and say we can't write in that. If we check this, so we have the different things here, we can set, we're gonna add a few different properties that, well, I've added. We can set a column, which column should be shown on this, and so on, and specific display name, if we want to show both the name and then something else and so on. So you can use this in a few ways. And actually, when you don't remember, then you can go, there's actually some documentation. Wow. Well, it's crazy. Yeah, so here we have something about that control, and it can either be used to a record that you're connected to and just show this column. Or you can say, well, we don't have a column, an entity like this, but we have loaded it by itself. So like this, I have a retrieve multiple for it. So this is the case where we have to add a bit more. We should need to set it to a service. We need to set it to a service that you're connected to so that it knows how to find which entities are used in this one, and so on. So there it is, and we have the code here. And I will start with doing this where I said that we have a new connection. Well, set the service up there so that it is already there. Service. Now it knows who we are connected to. And then say here, well, I should probably not do anything just like that. So if you haven't write anything in the display name and so on, it will just take the default, which should work. I hope so. Let's see. Ooh, thank you. So if I select...
I think you have to run Toolbox.
Sorry?
The code just so it's right to run Toolbox.
Let's kill that.
Because, yeah, you're using the entity Toolbox.
Did I write something wrong in the code? Oh, damn. No, this is a new one. And now we go into the debugging. So, what did it say I did wrong?
Towards the bottom of the code, view the bottom.
Here. Oh. XRM. There we go. Quite easy. And we'll see. We should get a few views. Please do this thing. Or this. Whatever. Woo! Okay. So retrieve the metadata things for the entity and the data things for the views. And this is boring. That's not a CRM. Got to be better. So, but I think the next thing, the third thing is just show the data, right? So let's do that. I'm gonna split. I like the split thing. Because we can have like in two ways. So we're gonna have the data grid view. It's also a standard grid view with a bit. We understand XRM things. I'm sorry if I always say XRM, but it's always been XRM, so that's what you call me. And we could have a data source, so we don't do it this way, but we do it in the code. And let's make it doc as a full. So it's everywhere. And we see there's a bunch of different properties for this one. We won't look all the details, but I'll just do some show friendly names and don't show the ID and so on. Which means we're not now using how to lay out the views that we're using, but we're only using the actual query from the views in this case, because that's for another lesson. So now it should be possible to set the data here. And we need to set also the service so it knows what you're connected to. If you don't set that, it will only show just raw data, and we want to be able to show friendly names and so on. Which means we go here and set the same thing for this. Now let me show the right one. And service, there we go. So it's setting the service, and then when I select a view, it should retrieve all the data and show it for me. So I go again for only the default. I don't. Visual Studio is a bit stupid on me sometimes. It just adds another controller. Well, I'll just get the default. What happens there? We do the get data. A little bit of this code looks good now. So I have my own methods to do things. Well, anyway. So, okay, this should get the data in the same way as we did with the views. So I'll copy and paste. And I'll just tick all of these, and let's see what we'll need to change it to there. There. So it should, of course, get, what it should get is the fetch XML. So do we have a fetch XML from the view to actually query? Because I've already retrieved those. So, well, this is, let's just look. Fetch is, and get it from the, take away all these. And now we're starting to be hard to actually find the names of the controls I have. That's bad. You should see do you see it's bad? Bad. Yes, thank you. And I have something select here where I have a selected record because it's not just a text or anything. I have actually a full entity that I've selected there. And it may be null, of course, so then I go get data and string should be, and say that fetch XML. Yes, I know that's the name of that attribute. So if we check that we have actually added something, if it's not null. So now I have the query I should ask to the server. Which means I don't need anything about the query. Let's remove that. And let's say in this get load in data. And well, we don't have a query. What do we do then? I think you said the right thing, but I heard nothing. Fetch XML and with the fetch. So it was quite easy. Yeah. Thank you. Then check when it's done, is there an error? Is it an entity collection? And then just change this to XRM data something dot data source. Are you ready? I'm kind of nervous. Actually, it was so fast. It's faster than the rest. Well, actually, because it has defaulted to the first one in this list. So yeah, we should always add something for the UI. But let's see if this is the all records. They are there. Now, a little bit of woo! Thank you. Good morning. Okay, so I've retrieved the tables, I retrieved the views, and now I show the data. But it's not usable for anything. I can show it. I can have an on a text, on a paper at least. So you can't really use anything. So this is next level. We have a little thing here in the XRM control, or the tools, that's called a record host. What's that? Well, I didn't find a better name, but this will hold one record. So basically, it could be used for selected view, it could be selected for the data that we're showing us also. So remember this entity right now, and use that and sort of connect these to other controls and to use it to save and so on. And that's so. Let's just add the basic the text up here. So in this, I should use. I want to show the default attribute or column for this whatever entity it is, and we can see here that we can say that okay, this is connected to a record host. So this is the one I have, and then I should say okay, which column is this connected to, and I could say just the name, but that's kind of stupid, and it will crash off for my rockets because they don't have no name column there. So I will use this from when selected the entity. I can say, okay, take this primary attribute for this one to show this in this field. Are you with me?
Yes.
Ah. And when do I get this here? So when I get the entities. No, that's not. It's when we have selected an entity. So here we have selected an entity. Then I know that, okay, we have an entity, we can find which is the primary attribute and show that and set this to this text box. So Xrm text something, column. Which column should we show here? Entity dot primary name attribute. You see all the code I wrote. It's like it's nothing. Okay, now standing like this behind me. And this is faster than the rest, but I will click. I want to rockets, so that's fun. And let's all of these. So I missed something. I think it's the service, because it doesn't know which attribute do we show. I think it was for the XRM record host. We need to set this code is for the old ones that we got from the default, but here we should set this for the record host, and it's the same thing there. So it's a bit, you have to add a few more things and remember what to do for them to actually work out of themselves. No. Okay, here we go into the second debug. So it isn't working for some reason, because it should say the name here, it should be showing there. Let's see. So why is this? I shouldn't be able to set a service on this one because I'm connected it from the text to the record host. So that's enough. I've never selected the record host. So when I select something in this data grid, I should be able to say, okay, take this one and set it to the record host. So we put it here and check on which events do we have. I will go to the end. We have some special, the XRM entity or events. Record entered. So it doesn't matter if you click or whatever you do, but when you've done this, we should be able to set the record. Just say the record it should have is e dot, the entity. So that's in the event from that happened here. Okay, now it should work. I don't do this anymore, it doesn't help. It says something. Okay, so we can select which entity, which table you want. And so it's updated. When I'm moving around here, it will update, and it's showing the name attribute also. And this is actually the final things that we're going to, when we're making it from not just show you things, but for actually having read-write also. So I'll just add a very simple, stupid button. Please. Of course, it should say save somewhere there. So let's try to actually, when we've updated, the text is there for the name, we want to save this. Which is, of course, just when we click it. So I will do, this is a bit silly, because it's just a one-liner again. The record dot save. There's also, let's actually add a bit of the async, because saving, that will take time. I mean, loading takes time, and saving takes a long time. Well, depends on how the cloud is feeling today. Work async, ta-da, new work sync. There we go. And the message, save. Oops. Work. I love Visual Studio. It kind of helps us. So you wrote this last time. Do you want to do it again? Yes. Just tap, tap, tap. So this is what it does. It's done. So let's say return also a what happens, because you get a bool. Just a very simple true if it's been updated, or false is if it's if nothing has been changed. So XRM. There we go. And then finally, after this, the most I'm missing is end and the home button. I love those. And what shall we do afterwards? We shall do if I don't care about the error, but I do if the result is a bool and this bool result, and so if you get a true back, we should reload the data. Just a very simple get data. And a semicolon and last. Have like 1.5 minutes. This is the time. And let get show all. And here's Apollo 11. Let's write it with the numbers instead. Did I say it takes time? Correct. At least the first time. Well, okay. Now it's 11:11. Apollo 11. That's time. But I don't like that, so I don't want to be XI. So that's it. And we could, there's so much more to show you. Hopefully for next session, no, I won't. Now, have any questions? They'll have like 1.5 minutes.
Yeah, so you create your own project running it next to the Toolbox.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so do you have to add it to the public library, or can you have your own apps with an XrmToolBox?
Yeah, this is not a separate app. It is within XrmToolBox because we get so much from the core there as well. I think the time is up, and I will be outside or something, and we can talk about it. So, thank you.